Oh, we'll see how this one comes out. Hey everyone, it's Josh from Practical Theism. Picture this. You log on to Facebook and somebody asks a provocative question about religion or some random obscure verse in the Bible or some political debate topic, and you see the number 164 in the comment section, and you start reading the comments, and it literally is a flame-throwing fest where people are throwing out mean attacks, calling each other names, and everybody's just swearing up a storm, and nothing is getting accomplished. Sound familiar? You've probably been there. You've probably engaged in it. We all, at certain degrees, start to engage in what we would call uncharitable dialogue. We don't really know how to talk about these things, and when they challenge the deepest, innermost truths of our nature and our being, things that we hold really strongly in our belief system and our value system, we have a tendency to squirm when somebody asks us a question we don't know the answer to. And the result is, rather than assuming positive intent with the questioner, we get very angry and we start throwing attacks at the other person, which doesn't further the dialogue at all. So I thought it would be good to do a video on how to engage in a charitable dialogue online. There are 5 ways that I want to talk about how to have a great conversation that doesn't result in violent language with whoever you're talking with. Number 1, focus on the argument rather than the person making the argument. Everyone who brings an argument to the table is approaching it from their own experience, their own background, education, bias, and understanding. If the argument is incorrect, it's a reflection on the argument, not the person making the argument. We need to get really good at separating the argument from the person making the argument, because people making bad arguments are not bad people. They're just making bad arguments. And until we really understand that, we're always going to resort to this personal attack rather than attacking and deconstructing the argument and really identifying where there's truth and where you might disagree. Number 2, do not resort to ad hominem attacks. Ad hominem attacks are a logical fallacy that focuses on throwing out personal attacks at a person in attempts to show that the argument is wrong rather than deconstructing the argument to show where it is wrong. This is really, really important. This is when you have those people who are throwing out names, calling you stupid, or saying you're an idiot, you're a moron, you're dumb for believing that. They're focusing on attacking the person rather than saying, the argument doesn't make sense because of this X, Y, and Z. How would you talk about that? Now, Thomas Aquinas, a 13th century philosopher, a Christian philosopher, he said this, and my argumentation has never really been the same ever since I heard it. He said, never deny, seldom affirm, and always distinguish. Aquinas' rules to live by when engaging in discussion. This has revolutionized my thinking about how to approach discussions with people where my arguments and conclusions differed from theirs. Not only did this allow me to find common ground in the truth of their arguments, but this allowed me to really focus more closely on the fine distinctions that usually stem from where the arguments differ and also where they intersect. Here's the logic of it. When you outright deny someone's argument, you're automatically putting enmity between you and the other person. I mean, who likes being told that they're wrong? But when you affirm the truths of somebody's statement, it fosters charity, and distinctions further the conversation rather than allowing it to be cut short. Number 4, ask questions. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an absolutely phenomenal book on human relationships. One of the most intriguing aspects of the book I found was when it talked about how people love to talk about themselves. They love to talk about their experiences. Use that to your advantage in discussions with people. People relish the opportunity to share what they know and share about their experiences. When you do this, it not only fosters a really good relationship and rapport with somebody else, but it also disarms them and allows them to share the deeper truths of what they believe. And you might even learn something. You might even learn where that truth actually is and where you would differ from it. But you can't do that if you're just 90% send and 10% receive. We really need to be 90% receive and 10% send when it comes to engaging these type of dialogues. Try it. Try being in a conversation and resisting the urge to bring your own experience into the conversation. Trust me, you will feel a pull to do it. The trick in doing this, though, is to find the balance. The best way to foster a great conversation isn't focusing on what you know and how you can share that information with someone else. It's actually taking a student's approach and seeing what you can learn from the other person. We do this by asking questions. Now, when you ask questions, you're really showing a genuine interest in what the other person has to say. This is starkly different from how most dialogues go, especially online, where someone's just focused on the send-only mentality, where they're just concerned with making sure you fully understand and agree with whatever they're saying. Have you ever seen that online? I mean, probably never, right? I mean, I just love getting on Facebook and seeing a litany of comments under a hotly debated topic that is just littered with charitable conversation of people genuinely interested in what everybody else has to say. Said no one ever. Let's face it. Solicit feedback for your arguments. I mean, people love critiquing. Use that not only to bulletproof your own arguments, but to get involved in further critical thinking on their points. Accept the critiques willingly. Be the light here. I promise you will stand out to your friends and peers when you take this approach. Last thing, number 5, stay charitable. Do not succumb to the desire to join in the negative talk when others do. If someone throws a personal blow, bless it. If someone is angrily charged in their responses, acknowledge them for their openness and honesty, and thank them for actually engaging in the dialogue. I mean, it's very difficult for someone to continue with negative remarks when they're not returned. Have you ever been in a fight with your spouse, your girlfriend, your mom, your brother, sister? How difficult is it to be angry with them when they are apologizing? I love you. You're so talented at what you do. I really want to learn more about how you treat people so that, I can learn to do that. Nobody's going to continue down that downward spiral of negative talk if you do that. You'll diffuse anger so quickly when you take that approach. Lastly, always, 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 always thank the person for the discussion and the dialogue when it's concluded. This is something that I picked up, and it really amazes me how few people do this and how much people appreciate it when you thank them for engaging in dialogue with you. And what's great about this too is it makes them want to dialogue with you further. You never get anywhere with any topic when you're talking about truth or how you feel about something if you don't have somebody to engage in dialogue with. And the quickest way to shut it off is to lack the charity that dialogue requires, especially on sensitive topics and things that people really don't want to dialogue about, like religion or politics or whatever the case is. Anyways, from all of us here at Practical Theism, we'll catch you next time.